I have a pretty extensive guitar collection. The idea for me was and is to put together a collection of mostly usable, affordable pieces that serve my purposes but also are really flexible, that they can get a lot done. Some of this required starting to think about modifying my guitars. What I really need for a couple of gigs and just for my own use is a guitar that has a separate piezo equipped bridge with its own output, and then something that can be an easy to carry single unit so that I can have discrete outputs and processing for the separate output. I did it. I'm going to walk you through the process of deciding to do it, how I did it, and how much it cost to do. This is a redneck hack job, for sure. I'm not a professional. I didn't have the appropriate tools. I did not use the appropriate parts. And guess what? It's fucking fine. Here's the edit. I'll walk you through some of the process here. Everywhere I looked online, and the handful of friends that I asked said that I shouldn't do this without a drill press and without knowing what I'm doing. But that is what people say who are careful and who are trying to preserve the resale value of a guitar and who are very fearful of ruining a guitar. The worst thing that could have happened is I crack the guitar in a way that makes it unusable. This is highly unlikely. So really the next level down on the risk matrix is I crack the guitar in a way that is cosmetically not pleasing, but ultimately I can still use the guitar. Okay? The reason why I might have cracked it is that this is the modern Nashville-style bridge and bridge posts that came in this Squier Classic Vibe Starcaster. It's a lovely instrument. If you're looking for something in like the 335 family, I think that the Starcaster offset looks better. I think the Fender neck profile and the fact that it is a bolt-on neck that can be easily replaced makes it a better value than anything in the 335-ish family. Pickups are not legitimately vintage-voiced wide-range humbuckers. That's fine. They sound great. This guitar has great vibe. What I wanted it to do is have a piezo-equipped bridge with its own output and then have a rig such that I could make one trip from my guitar, or from my car rather, holding everything I need in my two hands to play a gig, cover acoustic parts that might come up in a way that sounds good enough. With impulse responses, almost any acoustic pickup system can be made to sound quite good. It's not going to be as good as a mic'd acoustic. I put Anthem SLs in all of my acoustics, and that is... it might not be what I do now because impulse responses are so great, but it's what I have done. It sounds awesome, easy to install. This is a little more involved. You can see the bridge posts are different size. This is a Chinese bridge called Kaish or Kaish, K-A-I-S-H, readily available on Amazon for $50. But I had to drill post holes in order to fit it in. Everybody I asked said don't do it. The internet said don't do it, but that's because that is selection bias. Those are the people who worry and do research before they do stuff. And I'm trying to embrace just doing stuff, especially on cheap guitars. Just do it, right? So I got a drill. I had to go and buy a 7/16 and a 13/32 size bit so that I could progressively step up the hole. I did do a little bit of damage to the finish. In retrospect, what I've learned is that you can tape and then drill through the tape, and that will make it less likely that you'll chip the finish. But guess what? I don't care. This finish can chip all day. Whatever. Fuck it. Also, this post hole Ended up being slightly too big because of a shaky hand, probably. So I wrapped it with tape and I jammed it in there. And guess what? It's fine. Did I ruin the resale value of the guitar? Sure. If I went into Music Go Round right now, they would offer me $100 for this rather than $150 or $175. And maybe, on the other hand, somebody on Facebook or Craigslist might see this and go, neat, that's exactly what I need. So there you go. I bought a backup so I can show you here. I had to do it. Next part, once I tested it, how do I plug it in? It came with what is essentially a headphone jack, the mini headphone jack, to plug into a preamp or directly to an output jack. That's very helpful because guess what? I don't know how to solder and I don't have the equipment to do it anyway. So I spent something in the area of $8 on an acoustic guitar end pin jack with a female end that matches that. So all I had to do was plug it in and then very, very carefully, and it wasn't extremely scary, drill a hole in the side of the guitar. There's no control cavity access on the back, so I had to do everything by reaching through the F-hole and then using a piece of fishing line attached to the end here, yanked it through just enough to get it through so I could thread. So this is an acoustic guitar end pin jack and end pin whatever strap button, but fuck it, who cares? It's fine, no one's gonna see it. It works. The next part of this was figuring out if my existing rig, which I tend to use this Headrush Prime. I previously had a Line 6 Helix. They're very similar. There are some differences. Headrush did recently, or somewhat recently, include an update that allows for some more advanced routing options, but in either case, whether I did it with a separate unit that could load impulse responses, or whether it was so I could use like a travel board with an electric side and an acoustic side, or whether I could do it with that, I was pretty confident that I could get it to sound the way that it needs to sound, again, just to be good enough. So in the next part of the video here, I'm going to plug it in, and I will show you what I'm working with on the electric side and the acoustic side and how I did that. All right, so like I said, this is a Headrush Prime. What you can do is create a split rig with a microphone in and a guitar in. You could do this with two guitars, but what I wanted to do was preserve as many options on my electric side as I can, and do only what's necessary on the acoustic side. So I have a volume pedal here connected to the exterior or external foot switch on this unit. That means all the way back there's no acoustic sound, all the way forward the acoustic sound is on. On the electric side, I usually like to have more drive options than this. That was one of the sacrifices that I had to make. It's fine. So this is going to be a nice edge of breakup Vox tone. I can kick on an overdrive in order to make it more distorted. I also need a tremolo. I also need to have a slapback delay, a more atmospheric delay, a natural sort of amp reverb, and then a more atmospheric reverb. This allows me to cover most songs that one would need to cover in the styles that I tend to play, which is like country, indie, folk, as well as a church band, which is really where this guitar is going to end up being used and where this rig is going to end up being used. So again, I have the volume pedal for the acoustic side. I have the volume pedal for the electric side. So there's a little bit of dancing around to make this happen, but it's fine. They're coming into their own in. They're going out of their own out. I can turn them both on and off and actually blend them. So in the next part, I'm just going to put some words up on the screen and show you what it sounds like. Just going into Reaper on my tiny little workspace here. So that's it. A few words of encouragement. If you have a cheap guitar and you can talk yourself into monkeying with it, go for it. Don't be scared. There are some things that could go wrong. The major one that could go wrong is that your drill bit bites. So that means that it stops spinning. The wood grabs it, or the wood and the bit grab each other, and then you yank the drill into the guitar, or the guitar up to the drill. That is a serious risk in this process. It came up a couple times. I had to be ready to hold the guitar in some way, to brace it, literally just to hold it steady in some way, like very steady, in a way that would counteract that. The other thing is, when you're drilling, you have to be bold. You have to actually get the drill to be spinning at a pretty high rate before you make your first entry into the wood. And again, if you put tape over where you intend to drill, you're going to be less likely to chip the finish. I do have a little finish chip down here, and that's fine, not the end of the world. I've got a wire sticking out of it now. I could drill in here somewhere and drop it into the pickup cavity, but honestly, I'm probably just going to leave it with electrical tape for the time being. So that's it. Sound incoming. I'm using impulse responses from, if you were to search for free acoustic guitar impulse response database, I will link to the site that you are going to be likely to find. It's an excellent resource. Impulse responses will change your life. It'll change the choices you make on what pickups to put in your guitar, because it makes bad sounding piezo electric pickups sound acceptable, if not good, if not great. So thanks. Sound incoming. The guitar starting on the electric side, bridge pickup, then the neck pickup, and then I rolled the tone off to kind of show everything that it can do. That's the bridge on the edge of breakup, and then with the overdrive doing some fake chicken picking. All right, that's the neck pickup doing some open chords. I think that's the best way to know what a guitar sounds like. And there is the acoustic side. The impulse response was free. You can hear a ring in there. I'm trying to get the EQ just right, but this is very passable as far as I'm concerned. So that ring, I'll find it. It'll be fine. That sounds great. That's better live acoustic tone than I think most people get. And there it is with the impulse response off. And there it is with the impulse response on. And then here it is with the tones blended together coming up here. And there it is. Hope you learned something.